So I've been asked to explain what are the advantages to using a salt spa versus, or a saltwater or saline-based spa instead of, say, traditional chemicals that you would use. There's a number of them. One of them is it can be automated. Of course, you could also automate with the chlorines and stuff. A lot of the swimming pools and stuff, they'll use a big vat of liquid chlorine and they'll turn on a pump and it'll put it in. And we looked at those types of systems, but it still meant that consumers had to make sure that there was enough liquid chlorine in there. You had to have some spot underneath the spa that would store this. With the salt system, the advantage is that we put the salt into the water when we first fill the tub up, and then that salt's in there and it remains in there. It doesn't even evaporate, as you well know. You'll get like salt lines and stuff. The salt concentration actually goes up as you lose the evaporation, lose water to evaporation. When the salt is in the water, we then use the charged plate to produce the sanitizer. And once that sanitizers react, it'll actually go through a couple of reactions and form salt again. So then we reuse it again. So one of the best benefits of the salt system is that you're not constantly adding something to the water. The salt system is going to utilize the same salt over and over and over and over again. A couple of things that make that very advantageous is that when you add something to the water can only hold so much stuff. If you've ever tried to stir things into water, there's a point where you call it saturated, completely saturated. You can't add anything else and dissolve it into the water. It's like a bag that's full. You can't put anything else in it. And so with traditional maintenance, because you have to always add more sanitizer or more chemicals to the water, what ends up happening is that the water becomes full and then you have to drain the spa. Well, because we're using the same sanitizer over and over and over again, it takes a lot longer before this water becomes full. And so you don't have to drain and fill your spa nearly as often. So I'd say our average customer is about 2 years between drain and fills, which comparative when we were selling people and teaching people on traditional maintenance systems, it's typically 3 to 6 months. Every 3 to 6 months you'd have to drain your tub, start over, put all the startup chemicals in, go through that whole thing. And so one of the greatest aspects of the salt system is just time. You don't have to spend a bunch of time draining and filling your spa. I always looked at it like every time you have to drain and fill your spa, there goes a Saturday. What are your Saturdays worth to you, or a weekend, a day off? I'd rather spend that doing something fun rather than draining and filling my spa and cleaning my spa out. So that's probably the major benefit to the saline system. The other benefit is the automation that we can add to that so that you don't have to think about it. Normally you're testing the water and you gotta make an adjustment, and every time before you get in, you gotta make sure it's safe and that sort of stuff. I think that's one of the things that's great about computers is you automate it and say, make it safe, and it just makes it safe for you. What do we have as standard available options on the Arctic Spa line? So on your Core and Classic series spas, we have Onsen, which was our first salt system. I think I might have mentioned in other videos and stuff, that salt system is based on time. So works virtually the same as far as how it produces the sanitizer. It's charged plates. In fact, all of these salt systems will use charged titanium plates that they create some electricity in there to allow this electrolysis to split that salt molecule up. If you have a Core or a Classic series spa, you can add Onsen to that. A Classic series spa can also be upgraded to custom, in which case we change the computer in it, and that computer allows us to run SpaBoy. SpaBoy is the fully automated system in that it has a probe that's going to automate give the electrode information and tell it when to turn on and off based on what it senses in the water. And now we actually can adjust the pH as well with that same sensor. There's a number of aftermarket systems as well. So we have one of the ones that we use, a Good Hot Tub saltwater generator. And a Control-O-Matic saltwater generator. These ones have chlorine detection in them, which works kind of like SpaBoy in that it will recognize when the chlorine level drops in the water and turn itself on for a specific period of time. But it's still time-based, so it's not as automated and can't be as automated as a spa buoy system, but it's still a step up from just having a time-based system. The vast majority of other salt systems that I've seen available as an aftermarket purchase or on other brands of spas, I've started to see a few other brands of spas that are offering salt systems. Those are all time-based. So you as the consumer have to say, I'm using it more, I need to increase my sanitizer output. I'm using it less, I need to decrease it. The risk there is that if you forget to adjust it up or down, you have some problems. For instance, if you forget to adjust it down and you don't use it, then that chlorine level can just keep building up, keep building up, keep building up. And if the chlorine level gets too high, that can cause a host of problems. Too much chlorine in the water is going to make the water very aggressive, and it can damage things on your spa. And a lot of our competitors say, don't get a salt system because it's going to corrode your spa. Well, I'm here to tell you that's a very specific case that would happen, and you can do the exact same thing with traditional chemicals. In fact, most of the spas that I've gone to where something disastrous has happened, it's because somebody's added too much of something or not enough of the other. The other aspect that you'll see with the time-based systems is if you don't have it on high enough. Well, then you don't have enough sanitizer in the water, and if you don't have enough sanitizer in the water, then your tub will slowly kind of turn green and maybe not look so good, and so that's the challenge if you haven't increased it enough. So usually with most people, you'll find for your average use, there's going to be a setting that works just fine. And a lot of these ones have like a boost function where you can tell it to produce sanitizer for one cycle or one time frame. That's a really good system to use whenever you use the spa. Hit that boost function so that it's going to produce sanitizer while you're in it, because that's when it's becoming most contaminated, is when we're using it. And if you attack the bacteria or microbes in the water before they get a chance to really grow, then they don't get a chance to go through that exponential growth. You know, most microbes double, then double, then double, and double, and so you can get a lot. If it's low and you don't have enough in there and it doubles, then you're going to need an awful lot to deal with that. So using that boost function, you can deal with it right when there's a small amount of microbes in the water and kill them dead right then, and then you don't have to use a whole lot to do that. And that's really the types of saline systems that are out there on the market. Come see us at any of our Arctic Spa stores and get a lesson. Bring your swimsuits so that you can try the spas, because one of the things that I really love about a saline tub versus a traditional chemical tub is how different it feels on your skin. When you get out, you feel clean. You know, I sometimes have gotten out of a traditionally maintained spa and you smell like a chlorine tablet yourself. That's not, so I immediately have to go have a shower. That's not what I want on my skin. I don't want it to dry out my skin. When you use a saline-based tub, it's the same saline that we have running through our body. So it's very, very safe. It's very natural. It's going to feel great. Come try it out. I'm John Keirstead for Arctic Spas. Talk to you soon.